The tang of brine floating on the breeze, the satisfying squelch of mulch in the surrounding forest, and the scratch of tree bark against her fingers as she climbed the trees up and up and up until the canopies broke and she could see all the way to the horizon. Rose sighed as she surveyed another stained dress, then shot her sister a pointed look. For a passing moment, Wren considered crawling out the window, clambering down the tower and escaping to the desert, but her feet were aching, and it wouldn't be worth the ire she would face upon her return. So instead, she pouted at the moon like a sulking child. A rogue wind whipped up, casting a chill in the air. As she reached out to close the window, she caught sight of her reflection in the glass. She winced, hating the paleness of her face, the hollows in her cheeks, the new silver streak in her hair. It was a sign of her grief at losing Banba, and a stark reminder that the world she had grown up in, sheltered and guided by her steadfast grandmother, was no longer the one in which she lived. It was a reminder of the crack in her heart. And yet the world around Wren had already moved on. Over 2 moons had passed since the Battle of Anadawn, where the twins had fought the rebels who'd sought to overthrow them. Wren had broken the ancient curse that had once split their 5 strands of magic: tempest, enchantment, warrior, healing, and seeing. This had allowed all the witches of Eana to have control over each strand, as they once did before those powers were taken from them, splintered by their evil ancestor Una Starcrest during a fight against her benevolent twin sister, Ortha, over 1,000 years ago. Together, Wren and Rose had defended their throne. After, they had chosen to show mercy toward those who had risen up in fear of them and their fellow witches, so they could remake the kingdom as a peaceful nation. It was going well, so far. But deep down, Wren did not feel peaceful. "This is entirely useless," Rose announced. She was on her feet now, glaring at Wren's wardrobe as though it had personally offended her. "First order of new business. Now that we're back, you need your own seamstress." "Fine by me," said Wren, slamming the window shut. "Fortunately, I know just the one," Rose went on. "Do you know she made the very gown I'm wearing?" She twirled to show it off. Even now, after an exhausting tour, Rose looked just like a princess should, in a pink corseted gown inlaid with golden brocade. Her hair hung in perfect chestnut curls that were pulled away from her face by a rose pin still in bloom. Her green eyes were as bright as emeralds, her cheeks rosy from her efforts at organising Wren's clothes. Wren tucked her silver streak behind her ear and looked down at her own crumpled blue dress, wishing she looked as put together as her twin, wishing she felt the same sense of peace and confidence about the future. "I don't know what I'd do without you." "Luckily, we won't ever find out." Rose kicked a rogue boot aside as she came toward Wren. "And anyway, this is what sisters are for. We take care of each other." She threw her arms around Wren, the warmth of her embrace chasing Wren's coldness away. When she pulled back, Rose studied Wren's face and pursed her lips. "Oh, Wren, you look absolutely exhausted. You really should get some rest. You need it. Now that we're back, there is a lot to do." "Can't wait," said Wren, trying to summon a smidgen of enthusiasm. Rose laughed at her attempt. "Sleep well, Wren. Tomorrow, the real work of ruling Eana begins." Then she skipped out of the room, humming as she went. When the door closed behind Rose and the room fell silent once more, Wren collapsed onto her bed, where a familiar fur-lined dress lay crumpled in a heap. Rose must have chucked it across the room during her excavation. Wren pressed her face into the gown, inhaling the scent of wild pine and fresh snow. Her thoughts flitted, as they often did, to Gevra, to King